Welcome back, guys. This is the King of Weebs here, and this is what if Naruto was a silent prodigy and was banished. Anyway, we'll get straight into part 2 of this series, and last time we left off with Naruto and Team 7 actually leaving for the Land of Waves with Tazuna. Anyway, of course, Team 7 would be heading to the Land of Waves, and Tsukume would be following along as she was actually, after Naruto and Hinata. Of course, they would still notice the puddle in the middle of the road, and of course, Naruto will keep an eye out for any potential attacks. And as soon as they you know go past it, the two demon brothers appear. Kakashi does get in the way and fakes his death and hides in the tree lines near Tsukume, but Tsukume is pretty hidden, so she can't really be seen. And anywho, now, of course, now Sasuke takes control of the situation, easily dispatching the two and tying them up to a tree. And Kakashi is he's glad that his student was able to well take care of this threat. And anyway, now, of course, Team 7 would pretty much sorry, not Team 7. Sakura would be, fangirling over Sasuke as, he took out the two tuning level ninjas, and Naruto would just be like, alright, anyway, when are we going to continue this mission? And of course, so Kakashi asks Tazuna about what kind of mission this truly is, and Tazuna does explain that he lied about it. It's not truly a C rank mission, it's a much higher rank mission. It should be at least, and Kakashi says that it is a much higher rank mission. It should be at least B or even an A. And of course, Team 7 would have to return to the Leaf Village. However, Sasuke says that with a smug look on his face. He says that they're more than ready enough, especially because he's there and Kakashi's there too. Kakashi takes the word of his student is that maybe it's just a better experience for them, and they get more out of it than they would get from a C rank. And anywho, now, of course, and Team 7 would continue on this mission, and anyway, now, and anywho, they would continue until they would meet Zabuza, and Zabuza would attack them. And here, instead of Kakashi going straight for the attack, he tells his team to stay back. Of course, he does that in the original too, but here he makes sure that everyone stays back. But Naruto wasn't anywhere to be seen, as Naruto thought that this could be a fun fight, and head straight in. Zabuza would call him a fool, telling him that he will die if he takes another step, which Naruto really doesn't really care, and just continues running towards him. He dashes a kunai at him, which Zabuza easily takes care of, but then the kunai actually transforms into another Naruto, which Zabuza was confused on what was going on, and then that Naruto actually used a fireball jutsu, which Zabuza had to jump up to dodge. Then after that fireball jutsu, Naruto's clone would actually jump up as well for two kunais next to Zabuza, and Zabuza would be confused on why Naruto missed, but then, of course, those two kunais would have strings attached to it, which then the real Naruto throws another two from behind, and pretty much the two Naruto makes sure that the kunai pretty much tie Zabuza, and he electrocutes Zabuza with the lightning, with a lightning bolt, and pretty much Naruto, he's able to paralyze Zabuza for a second there, and then now, of course, Kakashi was impressed by Naruto, but he tells Naruto to get away as he can die if he continues fighting. And then now, of course, Naruto doesn't really take his advice, as he just keeps on going and going until Zabuza was actually quite impressed by Naruto's strength, as he was just with a kunai he was able to keep up with his sword, but he kicks him away as Zabuza was getting serious now, and then Kakashi comes in the way and pretty much takes care of Zabuza from here on out. Now, of course, Naruto and Team 7, Team 7 would watch Kakashi deal with Zabuza, and now, of course, Naruto would be quite surprised that, Kakashi was this strong in the first place. He never really thought that he'd be so strong that he would even make Zabuza, seem quite weak compared to him. Now, of course, Sasuke knew exactly how strong was Kakashi was, and anyways, now, of course, they would then go on to see Zabuza get saved by Haku, and pretty much Haku would tell them that he's a hunter ninja from the mist, and he's been, after Zabuza for a long while, and they just made his work much easier as Zabuza was caught off guard, and now he can take him to the mist, and he leaves, and they made sure to make it seem like Zabuza actually seemed dead. And anyways, now, of course, Zabuza wasn't really dead, and now, of course, Naruto and Team 7 would go to Tazuno's home as, Kakashi has to rest after using the Sharingan for so long. And, of course, Naruto was actually, uh, lectured about not going into a fight blind, as clearly that could have killed, if Kakashi wasn't there, Zabuza could have killed him in one sweep or one swing of his sword. And Naruto says, to be honest, I'd rather die than be bored for the rest of my life. And then as he says that, he walks out, and Naruto doesn't train with Team 7. Team 7, well, Sakura mostly would train with Kakashi, as she needs to learn the tree walking. And Kakashi had enough time to even teach her the water walking, which just increased her, increased her ability or her chakra control. Whereas Naruto was training was on his own and relaxing. Meanwhile, Sasuke was, of course, quite confused on how Naruto was able to keep up with Zabuza, as Zabuza's movement seemed quite fast, even for Sasuke's eyes, normal eyes, to. Well, he struggled to keep up with his normal eyes, and once he used the Sharingan, he was only able to keep up with Zabuza's movements. However, Naruto, without even using the Sharingan, he was able to, since Naruto doesn't have one, he was able to keep up with Zabuza's movement, and clearly he put up some sort of a fight. Even Kakashi was surprised. He saw the surprised look on Kakashi's eyes, but still. Kakashi then goes to Sasuke and trains him a lot for the rest of the week, and now Naruto, during this time, he met Tsukome once again, and even Haku. Tsukome, he met Tsukome first, as Tsukome came from the woods and actually thanked Naruto for the breakfast the last time. Naruto says he's no biggie, biggie, as clearly she seemed like a good person, as she packed a few things into Naruto's bag, and of course Tsukome says that it was for his own good, as clearly he doesn't really care much about his health and safety, as she saw the fight with Zabuza, and Naruto says, please don't tell me you think that it was stupid too. Tsukome says, yes, it was stupid, but clearly you were strong enough to keep up, and so I don't really blame you. If you believe you're strong enough, go on, do whatever you want, but if you know that you're not strong enough, don't risk your life like an idiot. And then now, of course, and when Naruto and Tsukome would talk for a while until Tsukome says it's time for her to go, and Naruto would end up meeting Haku the next day, as he was just chilling in his normal spot. And Inari, Naruto would pretty much just not shout at him, not but still talking to him, saying that, kid, there are people in the village, in other villages, not only you, that go through the same pain as you, or even worse. Some people don't even have anyone. They were born alone, and they will always be alone. One example is me. My own village treats me as an outcast. Everyone in the village hates me. In fact, even this team clearly doesn't really like him. There are only a few people that like him, and he's been beaten for a long while. A lot of his life was full of beatings. And here's the proof. Naruto takes his shirt off, as showing all the scars. One really deep one, as clearly it was well, it was obvious that it was deep because he was across his chest, and it seemed like it was there for a while. And then of course, Inari's mother was shocked that Naruto had that kind of scar, and she asked where he could have got some such scar, and Naruto says that he got it from the villagers that actually live in the village that he's meant to be protecting, and still he hasn't left yet. He finds it surprising that he hasn't himself, and of course Kakashi tells Naruto to sit down and you know reflect on his actions, as clearly he's giving the lead village a bad name. And Naruto actually replied by saying, "I'm not giving them a bad name. They gave a bad impression to me, clearly, and I'm just telling them the facts. He's not the only one who went through pain, Kakashi. I'm sure you have been through your own fair share of pain. Anyway, now, Kakashi was taken aback that Naruto didn't call him Sensei. Of course, Sakura shouted at him, saying he should be calling him Sensei. Naruto actually replies by saying, "What has he ever taught me?" And of course, Kakashi kind of reflects on what Naruto just said, but here's what it is now. The day of the fated fight arrives, and before they left, Naruto patted Inari in the head and tells him that he's sorry for being rude the other night, and he gives him a little, well, he actually leaves a clone in their home. Of course, they didn't know about it, but as soon as the clone heard Inari and his mother screams, and the clone jumped into action and pretty much took care of the bandits. And the clone told Inari to never worry about these kind of people, as one day he'll be strong enough to beat them himself, and here's how you can do it. Naruto leaves him a scroll with a lot of jutsus and a lot of jutsus, as Inari would Naruto literally wrote everything that Inari has to do to be a ninja in there. And the scroll was quite big as well, and it was like a scroll ceiling. But anywho, now, of course, he had the chakra papers to see what kind of chakra nature he had and everything. And then now, of course, Naruto, Inari would thank Naruto in helping them out. And then now, of course, Naruto would then see, Inari off, as he would poof away, or his clone would dispel. And then now, of course, Naruto and Team Seven would come up across, go ahead and verse both Zabuza and Haku, and of course, Sasuke fights Haku and clearly has the advantage, but Haku realizes that Sasuke is very, very strong, and so he doesn't hold back anymore, and clearly is on a tier, on a different tier than Sasuke, and in speed as well. He speed blitzes Sasuke. Just with speed, Haku is on a whole different level than Sasuke. And the strength wise, I'd say Sasuke is stronger because of his Sharingan and his heightened abilities thanks to it, and heightened strength because of the Sharingan and everything. But now, of course, and Naruto would just be watching until he sees that Haku actually, was getting the upper hand, and it was like, let me help this guy out a little bit, and then of course, he helps out Sasuke by getting him out of the way so he doesn't actually get killed by Haku's next attack, which actually saves his life in reality. But now, of course, Sasuke was pretty pissed off that Naruto, got in his way. He didn't need his help, and then now, of course, Naruto told him that he should thank him instead of being so rude to him. And then now, Naruto takes on the fight against Haku, and Naruto knows exactly who Haku is. And of course, he doesn't actually know. He had a hunch about now. Of course, now Naruto would see Haku pretty much save Zabuza, as he was about to get stabbed by the Chidori and everything. But of course, we go on to see, of course, how Naruto saves. Haku dies, and Naruto asks why, and Haku would go on to tell him his whole story, that Zabuza saved him, and in the end, Zabuza would actually, well, a fight for Haku as Naruto actually gave his Taku no Jutsu. Just that this time he wasn't crying all the way. He had tears in his eyes, but of course he kept his calm as he knew that if he just started throwing a tantrum, it would just be a long day for everyone. And anywho now, of course Zabuza in the end had his little redemption arc thingy as he clearly went through a change in character, quick character development for my boy Zabuza. But anyway, now, of course, now Haku and Zabuza would stand next to each other, and Sasuke and Kakashi were about to, just let them be. But of course, Naruto would give both of them a nice burial and pretty neat one too. As he prayed for them, he, wished them good luck in the afterworld or afterlife, as clearly they were good people at heart. They were only doing things to survive. It's what they had to do to survive, as clearly they had no other choice. But anyways, now, of course, now Naruto, due to the circumstances, they didn't have any other choice in reality. But anywho, now, of course, Naruto would then go on to return to the Leaf Village with Team 7 as of course, Kakashi here, since he's a bit more serious about Sasuke's improvement and he wants Sasuke to be promoted to Chunin ASAP, he actually tells them about the Chunin exams early, and pretty much they are ready this time for it. And Naruto doesn't really want to take them as he really doesn't care, but he has to because he knows that if he doesn't, then the rest can't take it, and he doesn't really want to be a burden to anyone. And so he just plays along and says, "Yeah, all right, I'll take him." I mean, although I don't want to, but okay. He knows that eventually they'll be having one-on-one fights, so he can just quit at that point. And then now, of course, the Hokage was actually very very intrigued to see Naruto's development as a ninja, as he was more on Naruto's team and not on Sasuke's team, as Kakashi was a bit more on Sasuke's team. But anyways, you know what I mean, as he did teach Sasuke in one-on-one and everything. Now, of course, Naruto and Sasuke would Sasuke would kind of want to compete with Naruto to see who would actually become a Chunin, as he thought that Naruto wouldn't be able to. Naruto doesn't have the skill to be a Chunin, but anyway, of course he does, as clearly he's quite strong in his own regards. And anyway, now, of course, Naruto would pretty much pass the first part of the exam pretty easily. It'd be like a walk in the park for him, and pretty much he would go on to the second part of the exam with Team 7, and Team 7 pretty much would be one of the favorites to actually pass to the third part of the exam or the preliminaries. But anyway, now, once they get their scroll of the Earth scroll, pretty much they move on to the Forest of Death. And here, Sasuke, well, Naruto would still have to go do his own thing, and Sasuke would still get bitten by Orochimaru here. And then now, of course, Orochimaru would get what he wanted, and he would actually leave, as Naruto wouldn't be too pissed off that Sasuke got bitten, as he thought it was only a little bite from a snake. But anyway, it was much more than a little bite from a snake, as clearly it would, change the story, or it would be a little bit of, well, it gives the story a bit more of a plot, to be honest. But anyways, now, of course, then we see that, well, Team 7 gets into the preliminaries and everything, and then now, of course, we go on to see Naruto versus Kiba, and Naruto at this point, he would have the incentive to actually get to the finals, as the day before the Chunin exams, Iruka would actually come to Naruto's apartment, and he would wish Naruto good luck in passing the Chunin exams, as he wants to see him become a Chunin. And then, once the Jonin exams come about again, Iruka will take them with Naruto so they can become Jonins at the same time. As the Jonin exams, there isn't only one person who becomes a Jonin, but there are multiple people. And then now, of course, Naruto actually had that little bit of an incentive, and although he was more carefree, he was very intrigued by Gaara, as he wanted to know what Gaara was capable of, but really he didn't really care, and too much for anyone in the exam. And once he had to verse Kiba, he ended the fight real quick. A lot of people were surprised that Naruto was this strong. However, the Hokage was very, very ecstatic to see that Naruto's improvement. And then now, of course, Naruto and well, Naruto would then go on to well, see Sasuke destroy his opponent, and Sakura pretty much get a double knockout as he sees Hinata get saved the last second by Lee, and here Lee is going to be like Hinata's little thing, and Neji winning, and Naruto, and then well, Lee then losing as well, and then Naruto pretty much going up against Neji. Naruto would have that 2 month training, and he didn't know how to train, to be honest. Sasuke went with Kakashi. He kind of wanted to train with Kakashi a little bit, and he actually went to him. However, once Kakashi, well, answered Naruto, he actually answered him by saying that he's already training Sasuke. He's sorry, but he'll have to find someone else to train him. Naruto says it's alright. It's not that he really cared, and he says, I'll see you around then, Kakashi. As Kakashi was quite saddened that, he couldn't really get Naruto to still call him Sensei, as he always thought that he would be Naruto Sensei, but Naruto doesn't really treat him like it as, and he kind of doesn't blame him, as he never really helps him. Now, Tsukome would come out of nowhere and just sit next to Naruto, and Naruto's just looking at the village from the Fukage statue, and Naruto says, I've grown to actually quite like you, or your company. Come sit next to me instead of sitting all the way down there, as Tsukome was quite far away from Naruto, and Tsukome was quite hesitant at first, and she was like, nah, it's fine. And Naruto was like, you'd make me feel lonely, and of course Tsukome didn't want to like hurt Naruto's feelings or anything, and so she goes on and sits next to him, and then now, of course, Naruto and Tsukome would talk, and Tsukome says that she can train him. Naruto says, and how can that happen? I know you're strong. I can see that you're hiding a lot of powers. However, I don't really believe that you'll be able to train me. As Tsukome then says, I know what you're truly hiding. You have a lot of power within you too. And Naruto says, you know what? Allow that. I don't really need to train. I'm just going to relax. I really don't care if I win or not. I wanted to win, however, I don't really see a reason for it. And then now Tsukome says, you do you. I know you'll get strong one of these days, and you'll be one of the strongest shinobi I've ever met. And that when that day comes, they'll probably meet as enemies or as allies. And then as Tsukome walked away, she does tell him that she'd much rather be by his side than on the other side. And Naruto says, actually replies by saying, I'd much rather like that too. And then now, of course, Tsukome actually giggles a little bit as she then disappears as the wind blew, and just leaves were remaining. Naruto then actually sighed and says, alone once again. I guess this is how I'll always be. People are busy. My friends are busy training. Shino, Shikamaru are training right now. I guess I'll go train a little bit as well. As Naruto goes to a cliff, training alone. And Jiraiya, he actually knew when Naruto trained, and he knew some of Naruto's training places, as Iruka actually, provided him with some, insider info. And pretty much he goes to this cliff that Naruto's training in, and he actually met Naruto. Jiraiya would actually tell Naruto from the get-go that he is his godfather, and he'll tell him one day when Naruto becomes 16 years old or 17 years old, and say that who his parents were, as he doesn't see him to be fit yet to know. And Naruto's like, I would object right now because clearly they're my parents, so I don't see why I shouldn't be fit to know that, who my parents were. But I'll play along with your little game. And okay, father, what do you have to teach me? Of course, Jiraiya says, come here, Naruto. He shows him the Rasengan. Naruto says that he already knows. Jiraiya is very surprised but smiles, saying that expected, very expected. Naruto knows who his parents are. He did add 1+1 by now. And then yes, he does know. Figured out, and that's why he said, "All right, I'll play with your game, along with your game." And then now, of course, we go to see Naruto master the summon jutsu within his first try. Remember Naruto's potential. Whatever he tries, he learns it within the first or second try, and then he goes on to learn pretty much more taijutsu and refine his skill. Especially Jiraiya teaches him a lot of sealing formulations and formulas, and the Hokage was really happy with Naruto's progress. Naruto knew a lot of the sealing jutsus that Jiraiya was giving him, and so Jiraiya gave him more A rank to S rank jutsus to learn. Naruto would learn at least 17 S rank jutsus within that 1 month. Yes, 17, you heard that right. I'll say that he tried one every day. Two of them he got on the first try, but then the other 15 he had to work hard for them. And then here now, of course, Naruto. Sorry, he got two of them off the first try, and then during that day, within 2 days or 15 days, he would learn another. Within 30 days, he would learn another 15. So in one day, he learned three. In 2 days, he learned three, and then the rest were like one every 2 days. And then you now, of course, Naruto is very strong, and his sealing jutsu, or he now has a sealing contract. So basically, the same thing that Minato put on Obito, how he's always able to teleport to him at any moment. Naruto did the same thing with Jiraiya. Jiraiya at first he was confused, and Naruto brings out his kunai and holds it like Minato once did, and says, "Well, you see, I learned this jutsu called the Flying Raijin, and it's a very overpowered jutsu. As look what I can do." Naruto throws the kunai out the cliff or towards the the he throws it towards the sky as he teleports and to it, catching it, and as he's falling, Naruto teleport to Jiraiya where he was, or onto his back. Jiraiya was confused as Naruto had his feet on his back, with the kunai facing pointing at the back of his neck. Of course, now looking like Minato there, Jiraiya laughs, saying that he's much more knowledgeable than he at first thought, and clearly he's more than strong enough to be a Jonin. And Naruto says, "Well, clearly, but I don't really care about rank. I mean, I'd rather remain a Genin and do easy missions than doing A to S rank shinobi or missions, as it's kind of a drag." And then Jiraiya laughs, saying that he's quite lazy, and Naruto then says that that could be his downfall, and that could be the thing that could lead to his demise. And Naruto says, "Let it be. I'd rather let that lead to my demise than actually working hard towards something. I really don't work hard." And of course, that is all a lie. Naruto's just waffling at this point. He's just tired, and as he was speaking, he dozes off as he was still on Jiraiya's back, and Jiraiya took him to his home as he pretty much let him rest on his bed. And Jiraiya would wait for him to wake up, and Naruto woke up pretty late, around like 11, and Jiraiya said, "Hey, Ichiraku is still open for another hour. If you can bathe real quick, we can go." And Naruto bathes real quick and goes with Jiraiya, and Jiraiya offers him Ichiraku, as that was the last day of their training, and Jiraiya tells him that he won't be there to watch him in the Chunin exams, but he knows that Naruto will do well. Even if he doesn't win somehow, he'll still he'll be sure to reward Naruto. And then Naruto's reward will be quite a hefty reward, as clearly it's Sage Mode. But anyways, that's a spoiler. And then Naruto the next day goes into the Chunin exam final stadium and pretty much beats the hell out of Neji, clearly having the upper hand the whole entire fight. Even when Neji pulled out his 64 palms, 8 trigram 64 palms, and his rotation, Naruto wasn't impressed at all, as clearly the 64 palms were that Neji did, blocked his chakra pathways for a second at best, and then they reopened. As Neji saw that happen, of course, he started backing up, taking a few steps back, and Naruto clicking his fingers, telling Neji that he clearly saw what he just did, and Neji should just, resign before he pretty much kills him. And Neji realizes that Naruto can kill him easily, and he actually changes his mind about destiny and everything, as clearly someone who was destined to be a failure was able to, well, make him resign out of a fight without him even attacking yet. Clearly, Naruto was just dodging, and once he did get hit, he tanked it like he was some kind of tank, literally. And Neji knew that if he was about to get hit by Naruto, or if Naruto started trying harder, Neji would have a quite hard time keeping up and not dying. And anyhow, now Neji handshakes Naruto a bit nervously, but Naruto tells him to, not be nervous, as he kind of respects that he's this strong. And he has to admit that did kind of hurt him, especially his shoulder. His shoulder's a bit sore now, and he does feel a bit dislocated. And he was dislocated. Naruto doesn't really feel much pain. His pain tolerance is quite high, and Neji actually looks closely, and he says he is dislocated, and pretty much, pops it back where he was meant to be. And Naruto's like, oh, that feels much better. Thank you. Of course, Neji just laughs, saying, "You are really a weird one, aren't you?" Anyways, let's go to the stands. And Naruto does go to the stand, as they will jump into it, and Naruto would watch and the next few fights. Of course, Naruto acted cool about everything, and he looked towards the Hokage, and pretty much he actually stands up, and body flickers next to it, next to the Hokage, and the guards that were actually next to the Hokage jumped back, well, who were about to attack Naruto, until the Hokage put his hand up and told them not to attack. And Naruto, the Hokage asked what he wanted, and Naruto says that he just wanted to do this, and he puts out his hand, and the Hokage actually handshakes him. He doesn't understand why, but Naruto had a hunch about something bad happening, and pretty much a seal came up on the Hokage's hand. He didn't really show it to anyone. He saw it himself, and he knew what this was. He was told by Jiraiya what happened, and he realized that Naruto must have stolen something from the scroll ceiling, but he's happy that he did. Of course, since the Hokage could never really get him a teacher, he's happy that Naruto was self-taught and everything. And then now, Naruto would then go on to watch Shikamaru win, and he would, be screaming Shikamaru's name, cheering him on, and Shikamaru would win. And then although he's the quiet type, he was quite rowdy there. And then now, of course, well, Sasuke appears and fights Gaara, having the upper hand the whole entire fight, and also his Cosmos was sealed away by the same exact seal. And then now, Sasuke would lose in the end, as Gaara would go into a rampage, and Genjutsu was casted on the people in the stands and the spectators pretty much, and just saying Shino never fought anyone as a stalemate, and then now, not a stalemate, but as a forfeit from Kankuro. And the attack would go a bit similar to the original, Sasuke trying to follow Gaara, and Gaara transforming, and pretty much not in the original he didn't transform first, but here he transformed straight away to full Shukaku form, as he lost control because of the amount of blood he was losing, and Gaara needed healing, and he didn't want his vessel to die on him now. And so he transformed, he took over his own entire body and pretty much transformed fully, and pretty much slapped away Sasuke, breaking his bones, and sending him into a Naruto thing that happened. You know what happened to Naruto, how he was bandaged up at the Valley of the End in end of part 1. That's exactly what Sasuke would be. But anyways, now Sasuke would then see Naruto take on Gaara and easily beat him, and also headbutt him, making them into friends. And pretty much then Naruto making 2 clones that took both Gaara and Sasuke back, and then he sees Naruto teleport into the Hokage's fight, and clearly he's able to keep up with Orochimaru as well, and he seals away the 2 Hokage. The fight against Gaara was similar to the original, but a lot faster. But anyway, now the Hokage was saved by Naruto, and then together they were able to make Orochimaru run away. But right before Orochimaru ran away, he looked at Sasuke, and his curse mark started burning a little bit. And he realized that was the person who gave him the curse mark, and he remembers that once he woke up, he felt an immense amount of power within himself. And then now, and now, of course, Naruto. I didn't cover much about the Forest of Death, but you can imagine exactly the same things happening like in the original, just that Naruto was a lot stronger here, so Lee's help wasn't needed and everything. And then now, Of course, now the Hokage would like to retire and asked Jiraiya to take his mantle, but then Jiraiya said that he'll bring back Tsunade to take it, and he takes Naruto with him. Now, Tsukuyomi would be watching Naruto the whole time, and she was very happy to see that Naruto was this strong. And the Hokage was very happy that Naruto was already, had a good relationship with Jiraiya and doesn't hate him for not being there when he needed him the most. Clearly, Naruto has gotten over that kind of hatred and he doesn't really mind it, as he knows that Jiraiya had other things to do, important things to do that keep the balance, also the village safe. And then, of course, uh, Itachi and Kisame would fight Kakashi, and Sasuke would heal quite quickly, as now he would actually, well, the best healers in the village or medical ninjas would help out Sasuke, and then Sasuke would try to find Itachi, and he sees that Itachi was in front of Naruto's the Hoto with Kisame, and clearly Kisame swings his sword, trying to cut Naruto in half. Naruto dodges, and then he actually kicks Kisame into the wall as Itachi uses a fireball jutsu, which Naruto literally uses a kunai to cut through. And Sasuke has never seen anything like this. He's never been able to even try to challenge a fireball jutsu from Kakashi, and Itachi clearly is stronger as he put Kakashi in a coma, and Naruto was able to cut through Itachi's fireball jutsu. Then Sasuke attacks Itachi, being much stronger here. Itachi was a bit more surprised, a lot more surprised, as he's already Jonin level, but still, he puts him under the Enju Tsukuyomi, and he's in the end, Itachi and Kisame escape as Guy and Jiraiya returned or arrived. Now, of course, Itachi shows his infamous Amaterasu, and then the black flames, the un unstoppable flames. Wait, hold up. I allow it, the flames of hell that burn until nothing but ashes, left. And then of course, Naruto and Jiraiya would continue their journey and find Tsunade, and here Naruto would pretty much not really attack Tsunade after Tsunade badmouthed the Hokage, but Naruto would just call her a fool, as clearly she's calling people who did great things, whereas she's here drinking away her life and wasting her money, going into debt. Whereas she can become a Hokage, someone who has a purpose in life and not be a nobody. And pretty much Naruto has another brilliant hunch and says, the people that you loved in the past would be disappointed to see you like this. Tsunade has a change in heart just by that little speech that Naruto gave, as he seemed more disappointed to meet, one of the legendary Sannin look like this than being someone like Jiraiya or something. Of course, Jiraiya is a fool and everything, but he can see that when Jiraiya gets serious, he's clearly strong. As he remembers one spot that Jiraiya was getting a bit more serious and Naruto stood absolutely no chance. Anyways, now we would see pretty much Naruto and Tsunade, Shizune, and Jiraiya return to the village, and now Sasuke is pretty much healed by Tsunade, and he was quite jealous of Naruto, telling Naruto to come to the rooftop, and Naruto saying that he doesn't want to fight. Sasuke is forcing him into a fight, and Naruto actually doesn't fight at all. Sasuke was all about the attack, whereas Naruto was defensive all the way, and then he takes on Sasuke quite easily and pretty much puts him in his place, and Sakura is quite surprised, and Kakashi comes in and he's quite surprised too. Jiraiya arrives and says, "Well done, Naruto. You were able to stop your friend from causing you any harm," and himself, as clearly he just came out of the hospital. Now, Sasuke runs away, and pretty much Kakashi follows him, telling him that, revenge is not always the right path to choose. Of course, Sasuke scoffs and says, whatever. And he goes off, he meets the Sandfall, and on that same night, he does escape. The Sasuke Ritual team was exactly the same as in the original, and here the events would have happened as per normal, except for the final fight in the Valley of the End. Once Naruto actually was caught up with Sasuke, the only thing that he didn't see coming was that Kabuto and the Orochimaru were on Madara's statue, and Naruto was on Hashirama's. Of course, Sasuke goes into his curse mark too and tells Naruto to fight them, as Orochimaru would help out, and clearly Orochimaru is in his real body, not that fake one that he saw the other time, and he's much stronger. And then he knows how strong he is, as he even put the Hokage well into a position where he was about to use the Reaper Death Stool and pretty much give up his life. And then now Tsukome would be watching this fight, as she wanted to step in, but she realized that this is Naruto's fight. Naruto was keeping up with the two. Even Kabuto came in using his chakra scalpel, actually cutting one of Naruto's ligaments, or cutting one of his muscles. And Naruto would use his self regeneration and pretty much fight a losing battle. Naruto would be beaten to a pulp, as Orochimaru and Kuramaku Sasuke would use a combined fireball jutsu, which was big as his Majestic Destroyer Flame, and Naruto had no chance to pretty much avoid this, or dodge or counter this, as he was running low on chakra. But he was able to create a little wood barrier, which then actually burnt, as clearly he was running low on chakra after fighting both Orochimaru and Sasuke. Although you'd think that Naruto has a lot more chakra here, Naruto was losing a lot of chakra too, as clearly Orochimaru made him use chakra draining techniques, which he was able to escape from getting hit by. And then now Naruto wasn't even able to substitute himself with the crows that he actually has, literally crow substitution he's using in this fight, and pretty much get hit by that final fireball, and he's unconscious now. His clothes are still burning, and Sasuke puts him out by kicking water on him and scoffs at him and pretty much tells him, always knew you were too weak. Of course, he doesn't realize that even Orochimaru is quite strong and he helped out in the fight, but still, he goes weak and then leaves. And Kakashi, of course, arrives to see Naruto in that kind of state, and Tsukome was just crying as she wasn't able to help, and she doesn't want to help because she knew that Kakashi was arriving. One of her clones was actually watching him, and clearly he was there, needy there, and she couldn't really go and help him out. Now, Kakashi takes him back to the Leaf Village, and clearly Naruto's in a much worse state than anyone else there, or in the Sasuke retrieval team. Now, since here Naruto was actually put in charge of the Sasuke retrieval team, he'd have to take responsibility for it. Everyone else got their little character development, not character, but still Naruto was in charge. Although Neji and Shikamaru were given a Chunin status too, as Neji was given Chunin status just due to his technique, power, and quick thinking, as he realized that Naruto was too strong, and he gave up straight away, showing that he's ready to escape and not be prideful. And Naruto just keeping his cool throughout everything. Although taking hits is quite dangerous, still he analyzed his opponent's attacks and was able to nullify them. And also he helped out the Hokage clearly, so he was gifted with the Chunin status, and Shikamaru was just too smart not to be given Chunin status. And anyway, now, since Naruto was pretty much the strongest one, he was given the title of team leader. And anyway, now the council was very pissed off that the only Uchiha remaining is gone, and pretty much here they all voted for Naruto's banishment, as clearly he's just a nuisance. He hasn't helped out the Leaf Village in any kind of way. The third Hokage objected, so did the fifth Hokage. However, Danzo made sure that the other two elders who had the veto power, pretty much veto is something that you'd find in the UN. There's 5 countries or super powerful countries that have the power of veto, and those 5 countries are actually the USA, Russia, China, Britain, and France. I believe it's France, yeah. And United Kingdom, not Britain, but still, and France, yeah, it is. And here it would be, and the 5 people here would be Hiruzen, Tsunade, Danzo, Homura, and Koharu. Koharu and Homura are pretty much the 2 elders, the 2 advisors, and then Danzo would be like Danzo. And since here it won't be all 5 of them have to agree on something, it would be the majority vote between the 3. Of course, the three wanted him out, and Danzo had a plan to actually capture him when he's older and make him into a weaponize him. But anywho, that was his evil intent, and so they couldn't really do anything. And Naruto was told that he had to leave the village, and as Naruto was going to go and say goodbye to, the only few people that actually he was acquainted with. He actually said goodbye to Tochi and Ayame, Shikamaru, Neji, Shino, even Kiba, and even he was about to go say goodbye to Ino and Sakura. Sakura, because that's his teammate, and then he says hello to Ino and Sakura. Ino says hello back, and Naruto says, Sakura, I'm sorry, I did say that I'll bring him back, but I guess I couldn't. And Sakura slaps him, saying that, hey, listen, you need to shut up. You didn't even try. I bet you wanted him to leave. You're always too lazy to do anything. It's all because of you he left. You should have left. Naruto smiles and says, I guess this village is truly cursed and they really do hate me. Anyway, you'll get your wish. I am leaving. I have to leave anyway. I'm being banished from the Leaf Village because I couldn't bring back your beloved Sasuke. Anyway, I'll see you around. And Naruto actually walks away, and Sakura realizes what she's done. And this is a bit copied, I'll admit. I won't take any credit for that little scene, because I remember watching this, I think it was Storm videos, and there was this fan fiction that he read. I think it was Naruto the Golden Fox or something, and there was a scene like that, exactly similar, exactly the same, I think. But anyways, I would not want to take credit from that, and I think it would be really fitting to have a scene like that here. And I'm sorry if anyone's pissed off, but I did kind of give him credits, and I can't be asked putting the link in the description below, but if you search up Storm videos Naruto the Golden Fox, you'll find it. And anyway, now of course, Naruto would then go to the Leaf Gates with the little things that he has, and Iruka would be there giving him a final hug, as Naruto kind of shed a tear because he didn't really want to leave Iruka. Tsunade was there to hug him as well, and the third Hokage, Konohamaru, didn't want him to leave as he wanted to be with his older brother. Naruto gives him a scroll with a lot of jutsus in there and says that the old man can teach you, and the third Hokage just shakes his head and wishes Naruto the best of luck. Of course, Naruto would say, well, I don't really need this anymore, Bachan, and gives her the headband, and Naruto says, and she tells Naruto that he'll receive this back once he comes back. She'll make sure that he returns one day. She promises on her title as the fifth Hokage. And then now Jiraiya would be waiting outside the village gates, and Naruto would then wave goodbye to everyone, and then Kakashi would arrive. Naruto wouldn't even look at Kakashi and just says, and as Kakashi says, I'm sorry I'm late, Naruto. Naruto then says, I tried searching for you, you weren't anywhere. I guess you were too busy trying to find your student. Anyway, I guess you're late again, Kakashi. And anyways, I'll see you around. Kakashi sees his student leave, as still to this day, Naruto has never called Kakashi sensei, and now he left. The people of the village were happy and celebrating that Naruto left, and the people that actually liked Naruto were hating it. Of course, they were pretty much against the fact, or the fact that Naruto is gone. And anyways, now Naruto would pretty much go on his 2.5 year training with Jiraiya, and here Tsukome would make herself known to Jiraiya, and Naruto actually says, you don't need to wear the mask anymore. I'm no longer in the Leaf Village, you don't need to hide anything outside, right? And of course Tsukome says, well then, I don't really need this anymore, as she breaks it. And Naruto says, well, you didn't have to break it. I kinda like the mask. And Tsukome is like, wait, what? And Naruto says, oh, well, I wanted it. And Tsukome is like, oh, well. Anyways, she picks up the parts and puts it in a little bag or a little pouch and says, I'll keep them anyways as a memorial of my old days. And she joins the little the duo, and they make a trio. Of course, now we would have to time skip, which I'm not going to cover it yet, and I'm gonna cover in the next part. And anywho, but that brings you dismissed. Hope you all enjoyed it. Please take care, stay safe. This was King Weebs. It's 1:06 a.m. and I'll have 24 minutes to relax and then go sleep and have school tomorrow. And anyways, my ducklings, you're dismissed. Mwah. Peace.